YouTube? Mark here with another fragrance review, this time on the niche house of Bond Number 9. This guy, a YouTube legend, throw him in the Hall of Fame. All your favorite fragrance reviewers has reviewed this fragrance. This is none other than basically, I think, the crown jewel of the Bond Number 9 house, New Haarlem. Now, New Haarlem was one of the original 16 scents that was launched with the Bond Number 9 house, or the Bond Number 9 brand. They first started with, of course, those 16 original scents. New Haarlem was one of them. Bond actually kept the original spelling of New Haarlem from the Dutch. As you can see, a New Haarlem spelt with the double A. The name changed when the dominant language changed from Dutch to English in that section of New York, hence the one of the A's being dropped from the name. So that's the reason why it's spelt this way. So you'll see that Bond kept the original name of that specific area in NYC, which I think adds a little bit of touch to the actual juice and the backstory of this fragrance. Guys, if you're like me and in the morning you just enjoy walking into a Starbucks, we'll say, or a coffee shop of some sort, and you just enjoy the actual smell of actually walking into that coffee house. You know, the coffee's brewing, you know, they're playing with caramel, chocolate, perhaps there's baked goods in the back, you know, Cinnabons getting baked up. That type of smell, walking into that coffee shop, if you enjoy that just as much as drinking the coffee and eating those baked goods, guys, this is a must-have for you. This is a gourmand lover's dream. I would be hard-pressed to not put this in my top 5 gourmands of all time. So let's go, and I'm going to review New Haarlem. Let's go. Alright guys, let's take a look at presentation of Bond Number 9's New Haarlem. I'm going to go in depth with, of course, the packaging, bottle, and box. And here at the Robes 08 channel, we always tackle box first. Now, as far as packaging for Bond Number 9 fragrances, this is basically your typical presentation. You got the star bottle. You might see different colors and different stickers on the bottle, but this is your stereotypical Bond Number 9 bottle. Same with the box, different color patterns, different stickers in the middle. Maybe you're going to see a little more different graphics, but this is the type of box you're going to be looking at for all Bond Number 9 fragrances. So let's take a look at the box itself. Now, as a collector, this is absolutely great. It's hard, it's sturdy. I can use this box for travel use. I just pop my bottle in here, and here I go. If I want to sell my Bond Number 9 New Haarlem, with the box is always a plus. I know for non-collectors, usually you guys throw out the box, but I'd be hard-pressed as a non-collector throwing this box out just because it's such good quality. And for niche fragrances, this is a plus for me. I'm purchasing a fragrance for $200+. I want to see the line giving me the best of everything. Yes, 99% of my judgment is going to, of course, the juice inside. But if you got like a quality sprayer, quality, you know, bottle, cap, quality box, that's an extra plus for me. So for the box itself, really reminds me, it's a nice graphic, but it really reminds me of the Spirograph I used back in the 90s when I was a young boy. It was just like a plastic thing right here, and you use your pen and you go like this, and it would give you like this type of graphic. That's really just basically what it looks like. This is a sticker, New Haarlem. It'll tell you what type of fragrance you got. I got the 100 ml. They're EDPs basically, and there's usually a sticker at the bottom in the corner. Sometimes there's stickers. Let's open her up just to look at it. There's a story of Bond Number 9 usually in the back here, loose, and that's where your bottle sits in this cardboard cutout. And then you got like some sort of little padding here. This one's orange. I've seen one that was purple in my collection also. So the different colors for those. But either way, there's your box presentation. The bottle itself, this is usually what the initial release came out with these bottles. Very classic look to them. Bond Number 9 New York. This is a sticker, New Haarlem. Just by letting you guys know. This is thick glass. There's a sticker at the bottom also giving you some information, and that's basically it. Now, the caps themselves, they're alright. They sit well. Sometimes they're loose. They get loose sometimes on the sprayer, just to let you guys know. And the sprayer is, of course, not the best in the bunch. This one from New Haarlem, I know my Brooklyn one was terrible. My Fire Island's pretty good, and this one's actually not bad too. So sprayer, decent. There you go, guys. Packaging for New Haarlem. Alright guys, let's tackle bottle sizes for New Haarlem. Bond number 9 has little samples. They're called bonbons for all their fragrances. Just an FYI to let you guys know, if you want to try out the Bond number 9 lineup, including New Haarlem, try out those bonbons. I'm not going to include it in pricing or bottle sizes, but just to let you guys know about those bonbons. Now, New Haarlem comes in the 2 standard bottle sizes, 1.7, 3.4 ounce bottles. This is the big boy right here, the 3.4. New Haarlem comes in an EDP concentration only. Now, for retail pricing is all over the map. You're looking at around $120 to $230 American to purchase this fragrance. Again, go online, check out your favorite discounter, Fragrance X, FragranceNet.com, Beauty Encounter. All of those carry the Bond number 9 lineup, including New Haarlem. I'd be hard pressed to purchase basically all these Bond number 9s at retail price. I've never purchased a Bond number 9 fragrance. I buy always the big bottles, as you can see behind me, and I've never paid more than $200 for these fragrances. I think the Bond number 9 lineup is kind of overpriced in a way. So definitely check it out. You can save yourself $40, $50, even $60 off the retail price going to these discounters. And if you have any problems, let me know. If you want to search out a Bond number 9, send me a personal message. I'll be glad to help you purchasing New Haarlem or any of the Bond number 9s. I'd love to help. Now, this one hit the shelves in the initial launch, of course, of Bond number 9 back in 2003. It hit many of my top 20 lists. It has in the past, and it's going to again in the future. I'm working on my 2012 list for actually fall and winter right now, and New Haarlem is a contender for these top 20 lists. Now, when I first started in 2010 with my niche top 10 list, this guy was in both my fall and winter. For fall, it made the top 10 at number 9, and then for winter, it made the top 10 at number 4. Then the next year after that, 2011, it only made my niche fall top 20 at number 14. So you can tell this is one of my cold weather favorites. This is actually one of my favorite gourmand fragrances of all time, actually. Now, Group, this is a Oriental woody fragrance. Definitely Oriental when you start looking at the note breakdown. As far as giving you a gourmandish feel, of course, this is a gourmand fragrance. It is going to make your mouth salivate just a little bit. Now, Parfumier, of course, is Master Parfumier. If you watch these YouTube videos, you know this guy, Maurice Roussel. I always say Maurice is the master with the note of lavender. If you take a look at his best sellers in the men's section, most, if not all, of his fragrances have the note of lavender, and he does a great job with that note. You guys know, it's highly publicized that I hate lavender in fragrances. If you put a pour lavender in a fragrance, I'm not going to like it. Some of my favorite fragrances from Roussel have lavender in their fragrances. So, fragrances that he has made, of course, Roca Man, Hypnose a huge lavender bomb right there. Musc Ravageur, of course. New Haarlem, I would say, is probably one of his top 3 fragrances of all time that he has made, just as far as complexity and actually kind of making a great like an imagery of some sort with New Haarlem. Not, you know, some fragrances, you know, you can pinpoint notes here and there. New Haarlem's one of those fragrances that just gives you an image. It doesn't really say, oh, there's lavender, oh, there's cedar, there's this, there's that. No, it's actually great for that. I would be, you know, Musc Ravageur is #1 fragrance as far as complexity and all that. And I would say probably New Haarlem's is his second best fragrance that he has ever made in his whole career. A great fragrance, I'm telling you right now. Recommended age for New Haarlem, I would say anybody. This is a unisex fragrance, by the way. But to be honest, anybody can really wear this. A lot of people say, you know, these gourmandish fragrances are for the younger types. You know what? New Haarlem, I really think it's not sugary sweet as far as a sweetness. It's more like a syrupy fragrance. And I really think older gentlemen can pull this off. It almost has like a little bit of touch of sophistication to it. So if you're 50 or 60 wearing this, yeah, no problem. If you're 20 or even a teenager that has a lot of cash to burn, go ahead. Definitely for everybody. Now, how many sprays in wear? Now this one, I wear sparingly. when it's really cold, I love wearing this in the cold, but if it's a really cold night out, I go one on the chest, one on the back of the neck, and one on each arm, and I'm set. I go 4 sprays in a really cold night, like these Canadian winters, yeah, 4, and it does the job very well. Now if it's a little warmer, you know, if it's fall or it's a spring night or even a summer night, I wear this. I just go one on the chest and one on the back of the neck and I'm set. 2 sprays, you're good to go. You know, I'm not one of those that likes to pinpoint seasons for fragrances. Wear what you want, when you want. And New Haarlem, I like to say seasons just to let you guys know what a specific season for a fragrance, just to let you know what it's geared for. And but New Haarlem is great in the cool weather. It's usually 80 or 85% of my wearings of New Haarlem is in the cool weather, but you can wear it in the warm weather too, just not in, you know, a summer day with blazing heat. Now notes, let's take a look at the note. The note breakdown, we got the top notes of lavender, bergamot, green leaves. In the mid we got cedarwood and coffee, and in the base we got patchouli, vanilla, tonka bean, and amber. Huge players, of course, coffee, lavender. Cedar and the patch kind of back it up a little bit, and vanilla and tonka bean do have a place in this fragrance. So let's sniff out New Haarlem. Alright guys, time to sniff out New Haarlem from Bond number 9. I'm going to let you guys know what this fragrance smells like from top to bottom. I'm just going to spray the top of my hand here. Remind me of this beautiful introduction, because definitely for gourmand lovers, yeah, for gourmand lovers, this hits the spot. Alright, so this is supposed to be a coffee infused fragrance. That's what you're led to believe, right? That's what you read online and stuff like that. First thing you smell, is maple syrup with waffles or pancakes, a baked good of some sort with a syrupy sweetness to it. Very syrupy. Now the bergamot is not to be seen here, so forget about them. That syrupy sweetness is joined by a blast of coffee. The coffee comes in after a while, vanilla, patch, a blast of lavender that really joins the main theme of this introduction, which is the syrup and the baked good. That is your main theme of this introduction. Pretty much smells like breakfast. You know, a lot of people are saying breakfast. Yeah, it really smells like pancakes, warm maple syrup drizzled on them with a coffee on the side. That's it. That's what this introduction smells like. Now there's a small hint of green in this introduction, but nothing worth mentioning to the casual user. It's not anything that's going to throw this fragrance right off and it starts getting green. No, you have to actually look for it. Now the syrupy-like feeling, to let you guys know, is it's less sugary than led to believe. It's more like a honeyed or caramel sweetness. It has that thickness to it. Well done. It's warm. It's comforting, syrupy, and rich. Definitely. Gourmand lover's dream. The lavender is so well camouflaged in this fragrance by that gourmandish goodness that most of the time you're just smelling the idea of New Haarlem. You're smelling that bakery, you're smelling that syrupy goodness and that coffee, and you're not smelling actual notes, and that's what I love about this fragrance. Now for me, personally for me, I love to dissect fragrances and just see what, you know, what I'm getting. On some wearings, the lavender did hit me a little bit, guys. It did attack my nose, and I really feel that this may be a reason for people to hate this fragrance, especially for advanced noses that really don't like lavender. This might punch you in the face in the introduction, depending on how much you spray on your skin and, of course, what your nose detects, of course. This introduction, guys, is the most edible introduction that I've ever smelt in a fragrance. When I first smelt New Haarlem, I was like, wow. And I love my gourmand fragrances, so I was like, yes, this is a buy. This intro is more about the syrupy sweetness and baked goods than actual coffee. I really felt like it was more about that, you know, that caramel, that syrupy, and that, you know, that pancake waffle feel than coffee. Coffee was on the side. Now let's get into the mid, and it's actually a different story in the mid. Now the maple syrup and the lavender in this fragrance actually tones down here, gives way to the smooth coffee. So yeah, it is going to be a coffee-based fragrance in the heart of this fragrance. And that's paired with vanilla and tonka, so it's going to keep that sweetness. Even though you kind of lose that maple syrup, it kind of tones down a little bit. That tonka and that vanilla comes out a little bit more. The coffee note, I really kind of want to dissect the coffee note because that's the main idea of this fragrance. The coffee note, New Haarlem, in the introduction, it was almost like a burnt and bitter coffee. And I think that image is because of that syrupy, that heavy burnt syrupy caramel note in here, kind of made the coffee burnt and bitter. And a lot of people are going to get that. I don't think the coffee note really morphs. The coffee note's the same, but the surrounding notes kind of morphs the coffee. So in the introduction, it was more like a bitter and yeah, burnt and bitter type of coffee. Now, once New Haarlem, that initial blast kind of leaves New Haarlem and you get a little less notes, it's not as busy and the coffee is actually much smoother. So it kind of smells like, for the life of the fragrance, it kind of smells like a roasted coffee that you get, you know, and that you get at a coffee shop. It's not like a burnt one. And it smells like a latte. It smells delicious. A latte with whipped cream and sweet caramel drizzled on top. Not like a, you know, a warm maple syrup, but more like a caramel drizzled on top of it. And this is where NH gets that famous mochaccino vibe that I keep talking about when I review this in my top 20 list. Yeah, I always say that it has that mochaccino vibe. This is where it is in the heart. The patch here is tame, and it gives just enough backbone to this fragrance. Patch always does well in gourmands, like think Angel Men from Des Mugler, heavy patchouli note in that fragrance. Well, it's in this fragrance. It has its place, but never really pushed itself in the forefront. So the patchouli stayed in the background. It was very clean and well done by Maurice Roussel to keep it in the background. You're not going to get much patch, but just enough to give this fragrance some backbone. Now, same thing with the cedar. It had a minimal role in this fragrance, just like the patchouli. It backbones the scent, but never really pushed itself to the forefront. This fragrance is built like Homme Narguilé from Hermès, from Jean-Claude Elena. It just reminds me of that fragrance, just because they're both gourmands and they both just bring you to a place. It brings you to that gourmandish place. You don't pinpoint a note here and there. If you want to dissect it, yeah, go ahead. And that's what I'm here for, to dissect it. But I also want to let you guys know about the image that it gives out. And guys, smelling your hand, you're going to think you're going to a breakfast place. You're not going to be like, oh, lavender, cedar, patchouli. So Homme Narguilé in this, they don't smell alike, of course not. But the picture that was painted and what the perfumier did with the jumble of notes is absolutely gorgeous. And enjoy that picture that they paint. Now, in the base of New Haarlem, it smells, again, like sweet syrup, that caramel with the lavender. The coffee gets turned down a notch a little bit here. The tonka bean was really more pronounced than the vanilla in this backbone. And overall, not much really changes in New Haarlem. And that basically means that your mouth is still going to be watering from hour 1 to hour whatever. This thing lasts. So hour 10, 12, whatever it is. When you smell the end of this fragrance, your mouth still waters. It's still a gourmand at the end of this fragrance. Let's get to the overview, and I'm going to let you guys know what I think of New Haarlem. Alright guys, let's get to the overview of New Haarlem. This is a coffee-based fragrance that really evokes a breakfast time aura. Very rich, makes me think of caramel, pancakes, syrup, with a cup of coffee, mocha or cappuccino on the side. Very inviting scent. It lures people closer to you. It smells great from a distance, but also smells even greater when they come close to your neck, definitely. To quickly compare this to the cheaper alternatives, I kind of wanted to touch base with that. This has a much more pronounced syrupy edge than the competition. It has much more going on with the pancake, baked good-like smell, and the maple syrup with the coffee than the Rocha and the Michael Jordan Legend of the world. Legend, I would say Michael Jordan Legend is the closer alternative to New Haarlem. If you like the overall feeling of this fragrance, I think Legend is the closer one to it. But again, in a cheap way, I would say. To be honest, none of the cheaper alternatives to New Haarlem beats out New Haarlem. And that's what you want in an alternative. Either it's the same or it's giving you more, and then it's a great alternative to it. For me, nothing really compares to New Haarlem. You can go to the cheaper alternatives, but there's only one, New Haarlem. This one is the definition of a gourmand. This does not play around and it makes your mouth water at first sniff. It's very sweet, almost to some users way too sweet. So it does push the envelope in one certain direction, and these type of fragrances can turn you off and turn you on at the same time. Now, it's very sweet, and the blend of just 9 notes in this fragrance is a work of art by Roussel. Just looking at the note breakdown and just smelling this fragrance, sometimes I was like, man, how did he manage to get this pancake-like feel in this fragrance? These notes must be wrong. How did he get syrup out of these notes? I have no idea how he evoked this scent with those notes. A true master at what he did. This is where a small amount of notes blend so well, and I say this isn't really complex at all as far as the fragrance goes, but it's well blended together to give you one central theme or one idea. Very linear in a way, so if you love that introduction, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. And it's a long one, so if you love this scent, it's going to go on for a while. This is a fun fragrance, but also has a small touch of class to it. Not too childish like some gourmands get to. It definitely pushes the envelope into the gourmand side of things. It's really one of those that are high-end in the gourmand side of things. Not an original concept, I would say, since Roca Man has already done this type of theme in a way, with of course the same perfumier nonetheless. Saying that, I actually believe this fragrance is on a stage of its own. Cannot be compared to the cheaper alternatives. Also, in a sea of aquatics, you are going to stand out in the scent. So I believe it's unique as a scent from what's out there to purchase. This one can get a little too much for a user. You may love it, then fall out of love of it, and perhaps need to come back to it. This usually happens with over-the-top fragrances such as this one. Personally, for me, I loved it since day one. I never really wore too much of it. It's not really a signature scent for me. It's something that I just go to from one occasion to another, but I don't wear it like 5 days in a row or something like that. I love it, but I like to wear it sparingly, so I never really fell out of love of it. But I can see where people can get sick of it, and people going back and forth on this fragrance. You know, it could be like a top 5 scent for you in your lineup, and then 2 not mentioned at all. I've seen it before. I felt this one was sweet, just like the others, but it's smooth in a way. Not overly sugar-like cheapness like Roca Man and MJ Legend. I really felt like it was a sugar-like feel, and this was more like a syrupy, caramel-like feel for the sweetness hit, and it was really, really nicely done. New Haarlem smells much more natural, gives me much more than these two, and at the end of the day, I believe it's the superior scent, and for the price, it should be. For what Bond's asking and what Roca is asking, and of course what Michael Jordan's asking, this has to be the superior scent, and it is. So kudos to New Haarlem, Roussel, and of course Bond number 9. Why would you hate this fragrance? Sweetness. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's too sweet, too gourmandish, linear in a way. Yes, it's not going to give you much. Cloying, yes. Pricing is a huge factor. I think that's the only thing that really sets this fragrance back is the Bond number 9 pricing. I wish Roussel brought this to another niche fragrance house or a designer house, actually. I don't think designer house could build this, but we'll see. The lavender in this, for me, again, it depends. I really think the lavender was punching at some wearings, and for users just like me that aren't too fond of lavender, this could be it for you. Not the type of coffee scent that you were looking for. This is definitely not a straight up coffee scent. There's a lot of fragrances out there that are just straight up coffee scents. This is much more complex than a coffee scent. It gives you the whole breakfast theme than just coffee. So it could not be your cup of coffee. One word to describe this fragrance, it would have to be breakfast. Bottles, of course, I've mentioned a lot already. Roca Man, Legend by Michael Jordan. Angel Man Pure Coffee, Comptoir Sud Pacifique's Vanille Mocha, and Ose by Innenberg. Best time to wear this fragrance, I would have to say night out in the cold is the best, really the best time to wear this fragrance. Cold weather. I've worn this, dressed this up and down, you know, cuddling up, staying at home with the wife. I wear this with PJs on, yeah. It's a date scent, dressing up kind of like this. Put this on a date, good. For women, you too, definitely. Especially fans of Angel by Thierry Mugler. You women out there, definitely wear this. If you wear this on a date, I would eat you up. Plain and simple. So I can wear this one dressed up or dressed down, actually. Compliment factor with this guy, as good as it gets, boys. This is a high compliment factor. When worn well, New Haarlem does the job. Everybody loves it. Everybody. I've had some wearing, some days, I think Dan even mentioned this. Some days wearing this, it was, I guess I wore it wrong, or I wore it in the wrong time or place. It was just not right, but most of the time when wearing this, I've compliment factor through the roof. 2 cents. My 2 cents. I've said enough, I think, of New Haarlem. As gourmands go, this is one of the best in the game. You can always get the cheaper Roca Man or MJ Legend, and you'll be fine. Yeah. And I think the pricing is the major downfall of New Haarlem. I think the scent is absolutely gorgeous. I can't complain about any production factors as far as longevity, projection. This thing is just absolutely top-notch stuff, and pricing is pretty much the only real factor or complaint of this fragrance. And that goes to buy, try, or pass. New Haarlem is worth your niche pricing, and that's what I go with buy, try, or pass for niche fragrances. This one is an absolute buy. Done. Let's go to the rating system and see if it actually gets a perfect 10. See you YouTube. Alright guys, let's rate New Haarlem projection. 8 bottles out of 10. It's solid, not beast mode, but actually perfect for a gourmandish fragrance like this. 8 bottles out of 10. Longevity, 10 bottles out of 10. This one gets 8 to 10 plus hours every given time. No complaints here. Versatility, 7 bottles out of 10. Again, gourmandish fragrances aren't the most versatile in the world, but New Haarlem, actually, I dress it up, dress it down, day, night. Actually, 7's a solid score for this one. Overall smell, 10 bottles out of 10. Compliments are great. One of the best in class. I would say seasons, winter and fall, and spring nights and summer nights, just less sprays. Price is really the only detriment to this fragrance, to be honest with you guys, and sniff this one out. If it's only just a sample, perfect. Just sniff this one out. Welcome to the Perfect 10 Club, New Haarlem. Go get this one.